What is procrastination? Not reading the next book in one of your favorite series until the day before the next one comes out. First of all, I apologize to everyone that has been requesting this review for the past year. I've been reading this series for so long and I don't know what was wrong with me. I can try to explain. I kept picking it up and then it was so great. And then things kept happening in my life and it was crazy and I just had to keep setting it down and picking it back up and starting it over again, and then new books came out and I felt like I had to review those because it was the next one in another series, or a book to movie adaptation was coming out, and I just felt like I couldn't finish this book ever. But this week I focused on it and I went through it real fast. I finished it last night before House of Hades comes out, which is today, and I do have the House of Hades, but we're not going to talk about that. Today I'm going to talk about the Mark of Athena, finally. There will be spoilers for this book in this video, so if you have not read this series yet, go away and go read these books. Start with the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, you just go do it if you haven't already, but I'm guessing you have. But anyway, I'll just jump right in. It's been 2 years since I reviewed a Rick Riordan book, and I'm looking forward to it, because these are good ones. These are good ones. Alright, so oh my god. I've read 8 Rick Riordan books and I love them all. None has ever gotten a rating from me under 5 stars. And of every Rick Riordan book I've read, this is my new favorite. And I'm interested to see if House of Hades will pass it up, but I don't know if it can. I've never felt so much from his writing. I mean, I've been with Percy and Annabeth, and we've been through them for years now, to the point of nostalgia. My favorite scene in this book is when Percy and Annabeth accidentally fell asleep below decks or wherever they were, and they were just talking, and it was just a perfect scene. Annabeth brought up a scene from The Lightning Thief of when those two were in that truck, and it just makes me miss them so much. Everything that they've been through. I just love Percy and Annabeth. They've done so much, and I really appreciate this, because I feel like a lot of times when series go on for a long time, authors don't take into consideration that the characters are growing and getting tired. They don't want to be saving everyone all the time anymore. Thinking about the first series just brings back everything they've been through. I mean, think about Grover. I miss Grover so much. I know that he makes an appearance in the House of Hades, which I'm so excited for. I noticed sometimes throughout this book Luke was brought up, and Percy's being able to sympathize with him more because Luke was in the same boat and he was always the bad guy. And now Percy kind of understands where he's been coming from all this time, being the god's little pet. I just think there was a lot of great character development in this book, and I'll go way more into detail in just a minute, but that scene, that was my favorite scene. Alright, so you know how Rick Riordan books usually follow some sort of pattern. They're at the camp at first, something comes along, they go on a quest, they all come back. Obviously a lot goes on in addition to that, but that seems to be the general pattern of the Percy Jackson books. But this one was set up a lot differently and I loved it. It gave Rick Riordan room to expand the characters and the plot a little bit more. Every time they stop somewhere, all the characters go on a little mini adventure, and Rick Riordan is such a genius with the POVs. Like, how do you align that so perfectly? Everything works together so well. I love how they all went off on their mini quests and a bunch of stuff happens and they come back, usually being attacked, then they fly off and go somewhere else. I just felt like so much more happened in this book. I liked how they weren't all always together. Plot, pacing, all of that was great. I mean, it usually is, but most notably in this one, I think. There's also a Titan's Curse reference, if you remember that. It was pretty early on in the book. Percy was all like, "We've got a damn hole." He doesn't have an accent, but I felt that was necessary. I enjoyed that way too much. I have highlighted on my iPad so many awesome lines of dialogue. It goes on and on, mostly from Leo. I feel like I never really appreciated Leo as much as I should have in The Lost Hero, but I fell in love with Leo in this book. He's just awesome. And I felt so sad for him with the whole seventh wheel thing, and I was like, no, you're not. No, you should be with Hazel. Frank is just too awkward for this. Just go away, Frank. I didn't mind Frank, because I really like Frank. He's like a big, you know what? He's just like, Frank has some pretty good moments, but not with Hazel. Let's make Leo and Hazel happen. The whole thing with Sammy, I wanted to know what that was so bad. I don't know what I was expecting, but apparently Sammy is just Leo's bisabuelo, and they're also identical. I love that moment on the ship with Leo and Hazel holding hands. Look up, there's Frank. There's Frank. He just called it. Knew it was gonna happen. But even with the whole mental seventh wheel dilemma going on with Leo, he still kept his head on straight. He knew what he had to do. He kept them alive pretty much throughout the whole book while everyone's got all their drama going on. Leo's a pretty real hero in my book. Now Piper, I feel like I liked Piper more in The Lost Hero. She seemed interesting and endearing then. Now she's just kind of like, oh, I'm Piper. My boyfriend's knocked out over there. I was just really uninterested in her chapters for some reason. Piper and Jason just kind of got on my nerves. I was like, go away. Maybe I just wanted to spend more time with Percy and Annabeth. Maybe that was just the reason. Because I definitely didn't mind them in The Lost Hero. I was like, yeah, awesome. But now I'm just like, move out of the way. Leo is still great though. I never minded him. And Leo was not my favorite in The Lost Hero. I don't know why. Everyone just switched rankings in my head in this book, except for Percy and Annabeth. They're still at the top. And I mean, I have no problems with Piper. Piper and Jason had their moments. I did continue to feel bad for Piper throughout this book though, because like, she has all these memories of Jason that do not exist. That was a bigger issue in The Lost Hero because now they're actually dating, but still, like, some great memories that she has, he doesn't have because they never happened. Totally sucks. I liked them more apart. I just feel like together, they're kind of annoying to me. Now towards the end I started getting freaked out. They were in that room and it kept filling up with water and Percy was about to drown and Percy just doesn't drown. That doesn't happen. No matter how many life or death situations these characters are in, I will still get worried every time. Cause what if this is the time that they're actually gonna die? What if this is the time that they fall into Tartarus? Oh wait. That happened. Annabeth, you were being all smart and I was so proud of you. I was like, yeah, you trapped her inside her own little statue web thing. And then you get dragged down to Tartarus by your ankle on like a weird silk spiderwebbish thing. It's like, what is that? First of all, I've known about the Tartarus thing for like ever. People don't keep secrets on Tumblr. People don't give spoiler alerts on Tumblr. So for those of you that were like, oh, film your reaction to the end when you finish it, no, I know what happens. They fall into Tartarus. But when I actually got there, I was still surprised because I had no idea how it was going to happen. Didn't know it was going to be in a giant spider cave, dragged down by a parking lot filled with cars. Of all things to happen, you get dragged to Tartarus by your ankle on a spider web. What even, Annabeth? What are you doing? And I love how Annabeth had her own little quest to go on. I got legitimately stressed out about that because no one has survived this quest. All these children of Athena going off to do that, and Annabeth is gonna go off with Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn. Like, what are you doing, girl? You need to just stay there on the Argo 2. They need you for this quest. You don't need to find that statue. Stay here. You're gonna end up in Tartarus. What did I tell you? What if Percy or Annabeth dies? I honestly would not be able to handle that. I don't think it would happen, but like, what if that happened? I'm feeling a death coming in the House of Hades. I just feel like it's been a while. And I have creepy feelings about the House of Hades. Good and bad. And bad and good. But that last scene, Annabeth wanted him to let go and he would not let go. He was like, never. They fell together. They are our heroes. They are tired of all of this. And Percy turned around to Nico and he was like, promise me. And I was like, Nico, this is on you, man, now. They just saved you from a bottle. What are you doing in a bottle, Nico? You have the world to save. That was such a beautiful scene at the end. I did get misty-eyed. That was a pretty powerful scene with them falling into Tartarus. But the chapter after that, the final chapter with Leo, I don't know if you remember this, that's what made me really like Leo at the end. Everyone's all mourning and oh, I could have done this differently, I could have done that differently. Leo's like, no, let's go. We're going to save them. They're gonna meet at the doors of death, but someone's gotta die now, don't they? Has to be locked on both sides. Someone's gotta stay in Tartarus and die. And what's gonna happen to Percy and Annabeth in Tartarus? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm kind of glad I don't have to wait for the next one for a year. Like, I literally closed this book and then went and downloaded House of Hades on my iPad, and then I bought it today at Barnes & Noble. I have a problem. Okay, so backing up to more character relationships, because there were a lot of those in this book, and I really liked them. We're bringing together the Greeks and the Romans, and sometimes they clash, sometimes they go together nicely, sometimes I overuse hand motions. We got Percy and Jason being possessed on the cover here, battling it out with the Mark of Athena behind them. Every time the Mark of Athena was mentioned as like showing up on a wall in this book, I got so creeped out because I imagined this weird creepy owl. But anyway, Percy and Jason's relationship through this book I kind of enjoyed watching, reading. At first they're all like, water is better than lightning. Yeah, Percy, well, no it's not. Oh yeah, Jason, well yeah, it is. And then by the end, they're like bro-fisting, like, oh, we're not such a bad team, and I'm just like, oh. Until Percy falls to Tartarus, of course. But that was nice to watch. It was kind of predictable. Like, we knew that was gonna happen, did we not? Did we not know that was gonna happen? Percy and Jason, they were gonna be all upset with each other, and then they were gonna be friends. It was all gonna be happy until Percy falls to Tartarus, of course. I didn't feel like there were any holes with the characters. I mean, when you bring together characters that don't know each other, and there are so many, it's easy to get by with like characters still not being familiar with each other, but Rick Riordan did a pretty awesome job of that. I'm super excited to see what goes on in House of Hades. Let's go read House of Hades, guys. I would say what do you think's gonna happen, but we should all have it by now. And if you don't, you'll probably get it like next week. I know billions of people are telling me, oh, I have to wait till next week to get it. Why? Stop pre-ordering books. Just go and get them when they come out. So I'll see you in a week or so with my review of the House of Hades. Promise it won't take a year this time. This is my pinky, and I give it to you in vow of reviewing House of Hades. I'm not gonna say anything about the House of Hades. I read the first 2 chapters already. You know what? Just stop in there. Mark of Athena was excellent. I can't wait to see if House of Hades is better, maybe? It's quite long as well. So those are my thoughts on the Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. I can't wait to read the House of Hades. I'm sorry it took so long to everyone that was waiting for this review. Honestly, genuinely, I apologize because I feel super bad about that. But better late than never. So let's go read the House of Hades. Yes.